So I'm going to talk about and revisit Ondo, O-N-D-O. Talked about it before. We're going to go through a couple things, but the reason I'm talking about it is because they just had the Ondo Summit and they unveiled, for lack of a better word, what I would call Ondo 2.0. I covered this about 8 months ago, Ondo itself, mainly in treasuries. And then this is what we all expected to happen, and it's happening at the perfect time. We'll go over that. We'll talk about the unlocks real quick, then what they've just unleashed, and then the price. And what's important about Ondo, it's a real-world asset tokenization platform. I'm a big dumb animal. Don't do what I do. That's my disclaimer. What do I think? Doesn't matter. Securitize, BlackRock, and others use it and have partnered with them. That's what matters. Large money managers, large institutions, and I'll show you why I believe Ondo is number one in the real world asset space. If you would, please hit the like button below because it helps my video out. Leave comments about what you liked or didn't like. Comments in general help as well. And if you've got information I don't have, or if I missed something, let me know as well. Also appreciate it if you hit the share button. Send it to someone you think might be interested. Because personally, if you follow my channel, I try to do this 6 days a week. And I've gone over my whole portfolio and the various categories I think will do well. And real world assets is one of them. I don't believe it's going away. I believe it's only going to get better. With regard to Ondo, it was June 12th I see here. It was at $1.29. And now it's just over $1.30. Not a lot of movement from last year till now. It did shoot up. It came back down. Like everything else, it's following the market. I did one June 24th, some information in October. And then in January, I did two specific to it. And the reason I did that was because they had a large token unlock. And I wanted to point out, and I used Ondo as the example as to why market cap matters, but I believe fully diluted value matters even more. And people thought that the value of the company was going to plummet when they had a token unlock. Here's why. If you look at CoinMarketCap, and there's other sites that show you when the tokens will be released. So in the last year, there was nothing until this date, which I believe it was January 18th, when they put another like 2 billion Ondo onto the market. Now nothing will be released until they do it again. So market cap, let's just go over that again real quick. Right now, at the filming of this, beginning of February, it's $1.38. Market cap is 4.36 billion. How do you get that? You take the price times the circulating supply, which is just over 3 billion coins. So 3 times $1.38, you come at 4.36. Total supply is 10 billion. It's limited. Take that and multiply it by 1.38 and you get 13.8 billion. My point was when people said, hey, they had a little over 1 billion circulating and then they're going to add 2 more billion. So people said the price is going to drop from $1.38 to 40 cents. And I was like, no. One, we don't know who these are going to. We have a general idea. We don't know the vesting schedule. If you're not familiar with vesting schedule, if you're like, let's say a startup company, you get options, they might say you're going to get 30,000 in options. They'll vest 10,000 a year for the next 3 years. So you can't even touch them for a period of time. Often that happens and there's reasons to do it. But more importantly, the fully diluted value. What does that really mean? Well, let's say it's a company on the stock market. Now they don't have all their shares out, but they have like a float, a percentage. But let's just say for sake of argument that there's a company out there and you can literally buy all of their shares. What happens when you buy all of their shares? You own the company. What did you pay for that? That's the fully diluted value. What was the price to buy all the shares? That's what we believe the company's worth. So for those that said, hey, it's going to go down to 40 cents because they're putting 2 billion more coins into circulation. No, because someone's not going to wake up and say, you know what? I think it's worth 13 billion on February 17th or January 17th. But on January 18th, I think it's worth 4 billion. That doesn't happen. Fully diluted value matters. We'll talk about that more in a second. So if we look at the category of real world assets, we're going to look at it in 2 places. This is important. First, CoinMarketCap. I've already gone into the cryptocurrencies down here to categories, search real world assets. Here we are. They list Chainlink, Avalanche, Hedera, Mantra, and then Ondo. Now let's talk about these. Chainlink, I wouldn't put it as a pure real world asset coin. It's an oracle. It's bringing outside information onto on-chain. Avalanche It's a layer one. It's not specific to RWA. Hedera, you can tokenize things, sure, but it's a layer one with a much broader applications. Mantra, yes, Mantra is specific for RWA. Ondo is specific to RWA. So I would say these are the top two. Now they rank them by market cap. And again, market cap, as we just looked, you see here, Ondo 4.6 billion. That's because they took circulating supply times price. Now let's see CoinGecko, which has basically the same information, same thing. I went down into the RWA category. Here it is, top real world assets. What do you find? You find Chainlink, but they don't have Avalanche and Hedera. They've got Mantra and Ondo. Now I think we're getting close to reality. We've got Chainlink, Mantra, Ondo. I don't believe, again, that Chainlink is specific just to RWA. It's these two. And we've got them by market cap. But you can hit customize and you can add fully diluted value, which is what I did. Now let's resort them. Fully diluted value. Ondo is 13 billion. Mantra is 10 billion. Chainlink shouldn't be here. It's not just RWA. It's an oracle. Shouldn't be here at all, really. So the top most valuable, the one that people think is the most valuable crypto in RWA is Ondo. 13 billion. That's what it would cost to own it all, let's say. What would it cost to own all of Mantra? 10 billion. And then we go down the line, XDC, algorithm, blah, blah, blah. So, in my opinion, from what they're showing us, Ondo is the number one. Great, we got that out of the way. Now, what they recently had was the Ondo Summit. You can find them, Ondo Finance, on x.com. They talk about the summit, but it's interesting because they actually have, it was 7 hours and 43 minutes. Let's watch the whole thing now. Just kidding. You can go through and skip to different parts, and you can literally watch the parts of the summit if you're interested. This is their main website, and up here it says introducing Ondo Chain, the omni-chain network for RWAs. Here we go. Here's the new thing. The omni-chain network. Ondo Chain is a public proof-of-stake layer 1 blockchain designed specifically for institutional grade real-world assets. What did they first do? And this is what we talked about last year. Essentially, they tokenized treasuries. Treasuries are like bonds, but treasuries are from the government. And they tokenized short-term treasuries. So you can literally buy the tokens that represent these treasuries and get a yield, and of course trade them, available on multiple networks. That's how they started. And I thought, okay, that's really great, but I don't just want something that's just going to be treasuries. And when they did the deals with partnered with BlackRock and Securitize, you can see it here on the homepage. Larry Fink said, we believe the next step going forward would be tokenization of financial assets. You see him all the time talking about that. Securitize talks about it as well. And they talk about their collaboration with Ondo. Okay, so the big players are here. It's not going to be just bonds. It's not going to be just treasuries. It's also going to be bonds and, most importantly, securities. Tokenizing regulated securities. Of course, that's going to be much more difficult because there's so many regulations around securities, stocks. Here's a great diagram. I'm going through this fairly quick, but you get the gist of it. Here's the Ondo Chain. Applications for portfolio management, prime brokerage. They've got the ecosystems like other blockchains. They've got the participants, service providers, asset issuers, investors, and they've got the assets, other RWAs, tokenized securities, digitally native assets. So in a nutshell, this Ondo Chain is going to enable all of that. There's the Ondo Chain and how it works. We know what it's going to enable. You scroll down from the homepage and this is cool because you used to just see this Ondo US dollar yield token USDY or the token that represents the treasuries. But now they're showing you, hey, check this out. You'll be able, because they're going to tokenize Tesla, ONTSLA, I guess ON for Ondo, ON Visa, VISA. And they show it here. There's NVIDIA, ON NVIDIA, giving you an idea of what the interface would look like, but allowing thousands of real-world assets on one platform. At the moment, it's not available in the US, probably some regulatory things they've got to go through, but what they've built here is fascinating, and it's taken them from just tokenizing treasuries. And I'm not saying just tokenized treasuries, they did it. I always talk about 3 phases of crypto, and for this bull run, I want the 3rd phase. So there's the, hey, let's build it and see if we can get it to work. And then there's, now we have a test net, let's test it out. And then there's the, oh, now it works and we've got customers on it. So this one, when they tokenized the treasuries, was a, oh, it works and we've got customers on it, so to speak. And now they're getting into securities, which is going to be, in my mind, gigantic. They have a whole press release, if you will, talking about the barriers and how they're getting around them. But what's to know here is that the Ondo Chain, as it's called, is their new layer 1 blockchain purpose-built for institutional grade real-world assets. Okay, great. So now let's talk about the price itself. This is Ondo on a daily. It's at $1.40 at the moment, as we saw from CoinGecko, fully diluted, 13 billion. And it's at $1.40. It had run up to around 2. That was prior to them releasing the news in the Ondo Summit, which just happened, I say, 2 days ago. So even though the market has, and a lot of things have been down quite a bit, Ondo has held up very well. So what do you believe Ondo is going to do? I could easily see this going to 100 billion. They are number 1. They already have a working system with treasuries. They're moving into securities, and they're partnering with people like BlackRock and Securitize. So this is the number 1 horse in the game, in my opinion. I think this one's going to perform actually way better than I thought, because it is a large market cap coin. I mean, already it's 13 billion. It's only going to 2x if it just gets to 26 billion. I think it has much farther to go, because I really believe RWA is not only here to stay, but is going to be a big player in this bull run and moving forward. Thanks for watching. Hope this was helpful. Hope we can all make generational wealth together with crypto.